What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are not working on the Golf, but instead we were working on my buddy's 435i. He just got it about a month ago, and today we are installing coilovers to get rid of this monster truck fitment. So I'm going to take you through the car a little bit just so you guys know what we're working with. And yeah, we're going to get started. So this is Brandon's 435i. Just got it about a month ago. I think it has like 40,000 miles, so really low mileage. It's manual. It's silver paint, which I'm not sure if I like that much, especially not with the white wheels. He had these on his older car and just lying around, but honestly it's not bad, but maybe, I don't know, getting those painted later will be nice. But we do have some monster truck fitment right now. And over there we have a box of BC Coilovers, and we are going to slam this guy. So let's see. We have like random carbon accents, we have carbon mirrors, a couple carbon grills. The interior is this kind of almost white but slightly tan with the black accent, which I think is really nice. It's not like gray, because the gray BMW interior is terrible, and then the tan one I don't like that much, but this like in between almost white looks pretty nice. And of course had to get it in stick shift, which is super nice. But oh my gosh, look at this wheel gap. That is unacceptable. So we are fixing that today, and we have BC Racing Coilovers. So let's get these unboxed and start getting the car up in the air, and we can get going. Alright, we got everything laid out here. You can see we have the rear springs, we got a couple of sway bar end links, we got our rear main shocks, and we got our front main shocks. Dude, these have a lot of camber adjustment. I was not expecting that much, but that's really nice. So we can get the camber nice and dialed to where we want it. And obviously wrenches and stuff that comes in the package, but looks pretty nice, usual BC quality. And yeah, so let's start getting the car jacked up in the air, taking off some wheels, and let's get going. Alright, the car is jacked up and the wheels are off. We're going to start up here in the front. So we got a lot of wires connected to this guy, and it looks like, let's start over here. So we got a couple of brake lines right here that you can just pretty easily pop out when you pull them towards you. They'll just pop out like that. They're little grommets. So we got two of those sitting on a bracket back here. This looks like it's going to be the adjustable suspension module, so we're going to pull this clip out. And then there's one more that is also clipped up here. So again, same thing. You just kind of pull forward and it slips out of its little holder, and then you can move them to the side like that. This bracket is attached on the back where this bolt is. On the other side there's a little bracket, and it goes up and holds all these lines in place. So when we take off this back bolt for the bottom, that bracket will come with it. So we're just going to start unplugging everything. We should be able to just squeeze these out as well and unplug this guy, and then we can start taking it out. So what we're going to want to do after all of these is take off the sway bar end link, and for this you're going to need, I don't know what size that is, but you're going to need a wrench and then a little Allen to put into there. It's actually not an Allen, it's a triple square, so you're going to need that type of tool to plug into there and turn it with both. And I don't think I have the right tool, so I might have to go get one, but we're going to start unplugging everything, and then we're going to take the sway bar link off. So let's do that. Okay, I've gone ahead and taken all these wires off. Everything's pretty easy, pretty much just pull out. And the only thing I will say is the little zip tie thing that's on this one right here. You can pretty much just unscrew, so you don't have to cut the zip tie. I'm assuming this stud is not going to be on the BC Coilovers, but you know, just in case, you don't necessarily have to cut that if you don't need to. You can kind of just twist it around until it comes off of this stud. And then I got the sway bar end link off. It was not a triple square like I said. It was actually just a Torx. It was a T30, so you can go ahead and just put this in the main screw, and then I just grabbed the outer piece with pliers, and I was able to rotate the screwdriver after I used a ratchet to just break it free. So you kind of have to double up with this guy, but not too bad so far. And now we get to the big bolt down here. It's just a nut on this side and a bolt on this side, so I'm just going to hit it with an impact. We'll be able to take this bracket out. Then we should be able to push our disc down and free up the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get going on that. Okay, so I may have goofed a little bit. I got this back bolt out. This side's an 18, this side's a 16, and I pushed down on the rotor, and I got it to slip down a lot, and I realized there's still a lot to go, so I don't think this is going to drop far enough for us to pull out the bottom first. So what I would recommend is don't push down on the rotor yet. Keep it snug, and then go to the top and undo all these bolts, drop the top first, and kind of pull it out from the side, and then pull the whole assembly out. But on the top here we have this cross brace that sits on top of the strut, and this is some weird inverse torque stuff, but I have a 9/16 12 point, and it fits on here really well, does not move at all. So if you don't have that, this will fit. And I'm just going to take this off, do this, drop the whole thing out from underneath, and then pull out the top. So I'll try that and let you know how it goes. Alright, that worked out pretty well. Got this guy out. It was a bit of a pain, definitely going to be easier with two people, but you can tell the difference between OEM and the BCs. I'm definitely going to dump them as much as possible. They're still just what come out of the box. Granted, these have higher spring rates, so these are going to close more when the car is dropped. So, you know, this is probably actually only maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches, somewhere around there. The only really way to find out is to throw it in the car. So let's get this guy dropped all the way and then chuck it in the car and tighten everything up, and we should be good to move on to the rears. So let's go ahead and throw these in. Alright, I was able to get the fronts in. Way easier putting them in, obviously. You just put it to the top, screw in the top bolts first, and then jack up the rotor assembly with a jack, and then slide it in the back. Pretty easy stuff, not too bad. Put the bracket in when you're tightening the rear bolt, and it should be good to go. And you can tell just by looking at it how much this is going to dump the car, because that is so much higher than what it was. Here, I'll go to the other side. This is about in line with the side marker, and if we go to this side, well, the wheel's still on, but if you look for the center of the hub, lining here, we're like down here, so we got probably a good 3 inches minus suspension travel, so we probably got like 2 inches of drop, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, this is going to be nuts when we're done. I am not attaching the sway bar end link yet. I'm going to make sure to do the other side first, since that side is so low. It's going to be really hard to get that in place until we have the other coilover in, so we're going to wait for that until after we do the other side. But the front is pretty much done. Now we're going to move over to the back. And the back is hopefully going to be a little bit easier, because there's just one bolt on the bottom for the strut, and then just 2 up here, and then we just pop this guy out, pop the spring out, and we should be good. There's 1 wire on the control module here, so we just have to unplug that. But in order to get to the other side of, where is it? I can't see with through the camera. To get to the other side of this bolt, we have to drop this metal plate right here, because it's in the way on the other side, and it's just a bunch of 10 mil bolts underneath. So use a deep socket 10, and we should be able to drop this plate off. Then we can undo the bottom, drop this thing out, pull the spring out, swap it over. Should be somewhat simple, so let's get going on that. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the main strut out of this side. I'm going to need a crowbar to get this spring out, because you really need to pry it to unseat it, because this won't push down enough. Maybe if I disconnected the sway bar, it would droop a little further, but I honestly don't want to do that. So Brandon's picking up a crowbar, and we're just going to have to pry this guy out. That's going to be the worst part of doing the whole install, is getting the OEM spring out. But while I'm waiting for the crowbar, I went ahead and finished the other front side, and I was able, let's see if you can see it in here. I was able to get the new tie rod in here pretty easy. I mean, you just take out the old one at the bottom, swap this guy in. It's substantially shorter, maybe an inch or two, just so, you know, when your whole car drops, that this is also smaller, so your sway bar isn't like pushed all the way down or all the way up, depending on if you raise or lower the car. But so we got the new tie rod in here. It's all looking good. So the front is pretty much done, and now I just finished taking the OEM top hats out and chucking on the new strut. Pretty easy. You just take off the little plastic cap here, and pretty much the same as the tie rods. You have a little insert and a nut around it. So if you don't have the right wrench, what I normally do, since we don't use these old ones anymore, is I'll take a pair of vice grips and clamp it around the main post and then use an impact to get the top nut off. Works pretty well, especially if you don't want the struts anymore. You scratch them up a little bit, but whatever. And then when I was putting on the new ones, I used a vice grip just right on the edge here to get a little bit of grip, and then just tighten the top down. Pretty easy. These guys are ready to go in the car, so now we just have to wait and get the springs out, and then we should be able to throw the rears in and be all set. Okay, so instead of trying to grab a crowbar and pry this rear spring out, what I did was completely disconnect the bottom control arm. It's just one bolt right here. Not terrible, and we should be able to just push this down and grab the spring instead of really prying it out. Should make it a lot easier, so I'm just going to grab the spring and pull it out real quick. Alright, the car is on the ground, and oh my god, this fitment is ridiculous. So the fronts are completely slammed, so that's as low as you could possibly go in the front. I mean, maybe you could get like another 1/8 inch, but just for reference. Obviously, we're going to raise it up a little bit because there's no way you can drive like that. But it looks really good. And then the rear on this side is not completely dumped. The spring is dumped, but the strut has a little bit ways to go. Could probably get another 1/2 inch out of the rears if I wanted to. But I think Brandon likes this fitment on this side. The other side's a little wonky. I think I messed up the balance because this side's definitely higher up. So we're going to lower this side, do a bolt check, raise the fronts maybe an inch. But oh my god, the way this tucks is insane. I wish we could leave it like that, but I mean, that's bagged kind of style, but it looks amazing. We're going to do some final adjustments and then get the car there. So sorry for a bit of an abrupt ending on this episode, guys. I was rushing through this a little bit to get the car done in time, and it ended up getting quite late after making the final adjustments to get the ride height where we wanted it to, so the car wouldn't rub and, you know, it was actually drivable and not just slammed as much as possible. But if you guys want to see more, I can get more beauty shots maybe in the next episode. If you guys leave comments saying you want to see more of this car, I know Brennan wants to do a lot more exhaust, side skirts, front lips, and stuff like that, so let us know in the comments and we can feature the car on the channel again. I'm sure Brandon would love to, so let me know if you guys want to see anything specific, and I will see you guys in the next one.